Hey everybody, how's it going? Quick announcement here. I started a new tech channel called Ricochet Tech. I put a link in the description below. That other channel is a place for me to talk about solely technology matters and to maybe go a little bit deeper than just what I might do in a gear video review type of thing. For the inaugural video, which is posted there, I actually did something in the spirit of Cybersecurity Awareness Month. Some of you may know that this is October and it's Cybersecurity Awareness Month. So in the spirit of Cybersecurity Awareness Month, I decided to create a tutorial which covers how to use a tool that's popular in the cybersecurity community. That video may not be something of interest to many of you. So the channel doesn't really have lots of gear stuff right now, but I will be doing more stuff there. If I do post a video over there that I feel is applicable for this channel, I will make sure to put an announcement in the community section so you can be aware of it. So this channel remains sort of my personal sort of vloggy channel. I may still discuss technical stuff here. I also have a backlog of recipes that I've been wanting to share, especially there's one that's really kind of fun. I think it's generally applicable to most anybody. Most everybody would find this interesting. And I have a little spin on it. Probably not super novel, but I don't know. I have my own little unique way of doing something and I love it and it tastes really good and it's really fun food. So I'm looking forward to sharing that at some point. This might be a super small channel, but I'm very proud of this channel and for me it means a lot. It represents a certain time in my life. It represents changes. It represents learning to plan things. It represents learning to be organized, learning to articulate. It also represents getting off your rear to do something. There's a lot of tedium and stuff involved in creating videos, especially a gear review. And what I have learned is there is a complete disconnect sometimes between what feels good or what you feel like doing and what you should do. Now that's not always the case, and learning what your instinct gut is that you should follow and then having that feeling of like, oh, you know, this is my mind telling me not to do this, but that's really the lazy part of my life, or that's the part of my life that's just used to not doing that, so it has an aversion to doing that, but that thing is the pathway forward. And I have found when doing YouTube videos, you're challenged with all this stuff that's kind of like climbing rocks or like making your way through something. I might be in a position where I'm sitting down and I have an idea for a video and there's all these impediments that come up. And one of the impediments might be like, you know, I'm thinking about those lights that I have upstairs and should I go get those and set them up? And then I'll sit and think like, well, I don't know if they'll really work, and all this kind of thinking goes on. And what I've learned, it's so silly. If you're wondering about whether lights will work and it's for this video you're doing, go walk upstairs, get the lights, and set them up. So that's just like one small example. There's other examples where you're trying to figure out how to get audio right. Well, you know, you're wondering, should I hook up this microphone and this and that? Or you're worried about like the background, you know, should I hook this up here or do this or whatever? And what I've realized is you have to get up and hook things together and set things up and be willing to try it out and see like, oh no, that audio doesn't sound good or that lighting doesn't look good. And then you have to be willing to move it and try something else. And this is a lot of detailed focus and busy work. It's a lot of stuff where you've got to kind of, you know, deal with all this minutia and do all this stuff. Anytime you have a job and you're doing work, there's always that stuff that's like grunt work. And what I mean by that is there's always this stuff you got to do. It's the small minutia around the main thing you're doing. And, you know, part of being professional when you work at something is being able to do those things that are just like, you know, it's not the funnest part of everything, but for some reason you learn to find the fun in that part. And people who have a mastery of areas, I think they can deal with all those tedious little details very smoothly. But if there's an area that I have never worked in before ever, or if there's a thing I haven't tried before, for some reason my brain is not used to it, the habit hasn't developed. And what happens is that'll be a harder endeavor for me to begin. I like just the simple thing of setting up this light. I have a light here and a light right there. And these are lights I bought like a long time ago, like off eBay or something, right? And I haven't set them up all the time. Right? But I wanted some reasonable lighting. Like right now it's kind of early in the morning and there isn't a lot of natural sunlight coming in. And I'm not saying this is the best lighting, but you should have seen what it looked like before. It was actually like really bad. It was overly dark and the exposure wasn't good and all this kind of stuff, right? And I was sitting in this chair just thinking about those lights upstairs in the bag that they're in. They're in this bag, right? And I was just thinking to myself, you know, would they be good? And I go into this mode where it's almost like I'm trying to talk myself out of it. And what I've come to learn is the whole whole thing behind that is there's something about just simply getting up, walking upstairs, going to get the bag, bringing it down here, setting up the lights. It's also the risk that I will set these lights up and I won't like the way that they look. They'll be too bright or something like that. And then I'll have to take them and move them or try something different or do this. There's a lot of tedium in that. There's physical stuff where you're picking this up and doing this and you're doing it and there may be no payoff. You may be like, oh, this is horrible. It doesn't look good. And then, and finally, I found this kind of lighting arrangement where I said, well, it's not the greatest thing in the world, but it was far better than the first one I had found. I had to rearrange them several times. Now that's just one thing. That has nothing to do with video editing or finding the right music for a video, an intro or whatever. There's all these little tedious things with YouTube content creation that go on. And I think the people that are successful with this stuff, either visibly or internally, like I think for me, there's been a lot of internal gifts for having embarked on doing YouTube content. I mean, some of the content I did in the past, the review video stuff, some of those little graphics and things, as simple as they look, they take a lot of effort. And you come to a point when you're editing the video where you have a decision to make. You kind of know what you want, and you can just decide to put text on the screen, or you can take like an hour or two and create a graphic. Maybe you'll get faster at it as you do it. There's been a tremendous amount of little gifts like that by being challenged by YouTube content creation in order to get off my rear and deal with new kinds of tedium, things I'm not familiar with. And now it's gotten to the point where tonight I was sitting here and I was thinking about like those lights upstairs. And I said, Ashley, no, you got to stop here. Like, don't stop thinking about the lights. Go upstairs, get the bag of lights, bring it down here. Think of it, Ashley, like the gym. You know, I can't stand the gym. I can't stand going on the treadmill. I've tried that before. You know, I've done the thing where you go to the holiday spa and you sign, I don't know if they have holiday spa anymore, so forgive me if I date myself. You sign up for the $300 thing or whatever it was every year where it was tons of money. And then you go for the first few weeks, you're going on the treadmill. I'd go on the treadmill and I'd have in my mind that smoothie bar. I'd be thinking about the smoothie bar. Eventually I would just go to the gym and go right to the smoothie bar. Then I'd stop going, but the subscription would remain. And canceling those things. Anyway, don't want to go down a rabbit hole. But the whole point here of what I'm saying is that if people can go to the gym and be on a treadmill, right? What's the big deal with going upstairs, picking up the bag, bringing it down here, setting up lights, and looking at it like an exercise? Burn some calories, set the lights up, find out they don't work, find out they suck, pack them all back up and bring them upstairs. Is that such a big loss? And I will tell you, when I'm sitting in the chair before having realized what I just stated, I will be at this point where I'll be sitting here and I'll be thinking about it. I will be thinking about it ad nauseum. I think subliminally or subconsciously trying to just get myself to be psyched out about it so I don't have to do it. I can just sit here, turn around and do computer stuff, be cerebral, not physical and artsy and craftsy and getting the audio right and all that kind of stuff. Getting all that stuff right, I have such disbelief that I will do it because it's stuff that I don't work with all the time. That was day one when making a YouTube video. And then as I progressed further, I kept feeling that difficulty of getting started on a video. But I'd get started. And little by little, I found myself being a little more fearless about these tiny little details and delving into them. And it really just gets like to be a flowing thing. Like for me tonight, for me to be sitting here thinking about the lights for I'd say about 2 minutes. And then I was like, no, stop thinking, go upstairs, get the bag, bring it down here, set them up. I set them up one way, couldn't stand it, didn't look that good. I thought this is going to be a waste of time. And then I took this one and set it up this way. And I remembered a lighting thing a tip that I got from somebody. And I kind of employed that. That involved me using the lights in the way that they weren't meant to be used in terms of how you set them up. They have these stands and stuff, but I have one that's like lying sideways like this. When you're dealing with arts and crafts and lighting and audio and all that kind of stuff, you have to search around for what works in the moment sometimes, at least. And YouTube creators, I think especially people like me who are small channels and we're just trying to figure things out and whatnot, we have to be resourceful in the moment to figure things out. I think that's one of the most beautiful things about YouTube is that just anybody can do it and you can put stuff into it and really make something out of nothing. So anyway, for me, this has been a cherished experience. You guys have been part of this. our little small channel with 600 subscribers. And it's a variety channel, which is supposed to not work, right? I'm not supposed to be able to do tech gear videos and have something about my cats and all that. And you guys that have stayed here and been here have been part of this in a way that's been supportive. I've gotten many wonderful comments from you guys, both the cat folks, the tech folks, talking about things, crying about things, laughing about things, all kinds of stuff. There's a lot of positive things when you can get up off your rear and kind of do something and create something and actually connect with folks in a very unique way. And so I've been just really grateful to be able to do that. And I'm looking forward to continuing to do stuff here. So that new technology channel is a chance for me to kind of focus on technology stuff and kind of have a space that's very focused like that. I kind of wanted that focus, but I also wanted this variety here. I looked at this channel and thought about, converting it to a tech channel, converting it to a this channel or that channel. But anytime I looked at the possibilities of doing that, it always seemed to meddle with the original intention of the channel, which is that the channel is my channel. It's an informal channel. If people are interested, they can tune in. If people are not interested, they don't have to tune in. A lot of you have tuned in and really supported all this, and I think that that makes me want to kind of keep the channel sort of the way it is, and maybe even make it now more personal now that I sort of have a focused space for technology stuff that doesn't have to have the vloggy personal stuff. And as I mentioned, I have a backlog of recipes. There's one particular recipe I'm really excited to do, and I can't wait to do it. It's not going to be that big of a deal, but it's just kind of fun, and it's the kind of thing that you might not think that you would cook at home because you would be like, I'm going to go out and do this. But you might be inspired to maybe try cooking something at home if you see this. So I'm going to wait till I make the video before I talk about it more. There's been a number of times in the last several years where I have felt like, gee, it would have been nice to maybe, say something or talk to folks or see what other folks think about something that's going on in the world or some thought I have about something that I observed or whatnot. And I'm thinking, why don't you say something? Why don't you share that information? Why don't you share your perspective? And I always end up coming up with some excuse, not to, well, yeah, you don't normally do that, so why would you start doing it? And, I think that's the point, is where do you start doing that if you haven't done that? And I always make these excuses. So I don't know if I'm going to continue to make those excuses or not. Maybe I'll be more apt now to kind of grab the microphone and talk about whatever it is that's going on that I want to talk about. I don't know, we'll have to see, but at least a cooking video is coming up. All right, that's it. Just a quick announcement. New tech channel, Ricochet Tech. Link is in the description. If I make a gear review or something over there that I think is applicable for the audience here, I will definitely make sure to leave a little post in the community section. Other than that, take care, be well, be safe. Looking forward to the next video. All right, thanks. Bye.